realize that this Fed was speaking already. Twitch. Let's see. What's the date today? October 23rd. Oh, wow. It's been a month since my birthday. That's actually insane. How fast time went by. Holy. Okay, I'm gonna shut this off and I'll just stream the rest of the session on Twitch. Oh, this is a pretty big area here in general on ES. Same with Tesla. 78182. Those are some really big spots on this, especially for not breaking before 2. It's not the end of the world if it didn't break before 2, but that would have given us the highest odds of expanding here. There's some odds that still open back up around 204, 207, 8450, 8625, 87 are going to be the big overheads on the index today. Those are 66 to 68 point ranges. MARA also stalling beneath that 1987, but still holding off 1979. This one had a flip at 202. XOM had a bit of a beatdown and then came back up a little bit, not much. Tesla breaking down beneath that 447.21. Thank you, Adam. That's not the top of the zone. That's the zone entry. Those are two different things. You're thinking about something completely different. Top of the zone would be 3233. That's a good sustainment stick here off that 202 on MARA above that 1982 spot. I don't know if you guys can see that. And immediate break to that 1987, 1988. 1987, 88 been broken here on MARA. This can easily start giving some breaks now to that 1994, 1999. I'm looking to see if this can get back to 2009, 2018. Ideally back to like 2030, 32 would be the best case scenario, but I'm not sure if it has enough momentum to do that this afternoon. Getting back to like 2074 would really help its odds to get back to 2139 and potentially back to our 2239 retest this week. That's where we failed on Monday. Back up, back down in this range in here. So really big spots that they're testing. Really good stick breaks here on MARA. Do you guys see the clearance here above 1987 and 1982? It's kind of similar to when they broke our 6.6 and 7.9 spot back here at 3.4. 3.4 was the highest on a breaking high day at that time. Yes, I'm assuming stalled. Yes, that would make sense. This is a really big overhead on ES too, so I'm not really surprised that it's stalling off a stall beneath 8.4. The window reopens here on ES at 207. Can someone document the 207 stick, please? It's basically just resetting that odd of closing and opening over that 8150. These are not confined areas on MARA. I'd say closer to like 2018, 2009, 2024, 2032. These are more defined areas. There isn't really too much confinement above 8.2, but beneath 2018. So in other words, this area here is kind of just more of a cleared spot with 2 hours left in the session. Where's my other Tesla chart? Here it is. Good morning. Good afternoon. Exxon making a good recovery here back above that 115.76. Tesla's still struggling a bit, but Tesla's usually a late day runner, so I would maybe think after stalling here. My thoughts were if it comes back and breaks that 448.96, there's some odds it can get to 452, but it really would have to turn around before 236, I would say. Same with ES. Hi. I'm just gonna make coffee. Sorry about that. No, I was just making coffee. Oh, there's some big drops in this way. I think we said earlier that 1973 was the area that we didn't really want it to break. So maybe if it holds off 1973, that was the 50% range between 6.7 and 7.9 was 7.3 between this area here. So see if they immediately negate that, because that's pretty high risk if they break back beneath. He's making a tiny turnaround. This one, like I said, after 2 o'clock doesn't really have super high odds, but there are Fed speakers right now, so we could see some volatility this afternoon. So just be cautious of that. See if we can get some good turnaround sticks here off that 218 mark. Windows on ES reopen again at 218 to 221 and 224. The best odds on this were closer to 230 and 236, but breaking back over 8.1 would be the best case scenario. We're not going to get any zone breaks on this above 8.8 today unless we can clear during this 2 o'clock to 2:36 period, I think is what we said earlier. So those that are not in the Discord, 8450, 862575, those were the really big targets for today's session, is around this area here. So if they're able to clear this area, I would say before 3 o'clock, then we have some pretty decent odds of getting back to 6799, 6794, potentially 6801, 02, 03. This is the area that had extensions in terms of confluence. And there's also a 12-day that is set up to engulf. This was on the report yesterday, so we had odds of coming back to retest 6802.75 as early as today. Today would be the only day that gave those odds. Everything else was pretty stuck sideways or inside range. Can someone send the link for Fed? I had it earlier. Oh, here it is. I had it muted though. Is it done?
Operations.
I won't get ahead of that. That's something for Treasury or the Departments of Commerce to comment on, so you're welcome to ask them.
Right. And then one follow-up question. Any more details on the president's Walter Reed visit? The readout from his doctor mentioned advanced imaging.
I think it just finished.
What procedure was he referring to?
Advanced imaging is something that presidents receive and people receive when they go to the doctor. And so we provide a detailed readout of that physical, and I would encourage you back to that. Presidents and I don't know the exact imaging that took place, but as the physician's note said, the president is in incredibly good shape, and I think that's evidenced here every single day. Danny.
Back to the ballroom, I'm afraid.
These are just some of the recaps from the session.
In July, the White House said
it off, but
it
it
cost
just
200
finished.
million. Yesterday, the president said 300 million.
I don't know if you guys saw
million
this.
now the operative figure, and why did it go up by so much?
300 million is the figure, and again, it's not going to cost the taxpayers a dime. So we look forward to this project continuing, and we will continue to keep everyone apprised on it. Perhaps the president will even bring you all out to see it one day at the appropriate time. You're also going to hear from the president directly in about an hour. He's hosting an event with the Homeland Security Task Force. This was a newly created...
Trump is speaking in an hour. Can someone confirm that? ES getting its stick break off that 221 flip. This was the earliest odd of coming back and retesting that 678275 for potential breaks to 8450. I just want to see if it's actually tagging this. I've been trying to do my best of cleaning up my charts every day, so I don't have to go back and 221 at 3 p.m. Okay. So that would make sense then. If we break ahead of 3, then that would really help reduce like volatility risk if he's going to be speaking this afternoon, right? No, I mean like these lines. Have you ever seen my charts? Have you seen this? Do you see this? This is insane. But at least I don't have that many vertical lines. I deleted a bunch of them last week. But like what? This is insane. This was clean the other day. 8.4 getting tested here. 83.50 I think was the high. We need a break at least over 84.25 on ES. These were some of the earliest odds we had between 221 and 224. Best odds were closer to 230, 236. These are 66 to 68 point ranges off lows. Off opening closing ratios, there's some pretty good odds that they could take this to the zone. We're still stuck in an inside bar, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't take out 6, 7, 8, 8, because on a wider structure we do have some probabilities like off that 12-day. From open to close, we're only hitting about 50 points here, so that's not bad. This is what could give us that push, like I said, to a 68 point break from here would be like 6801, 6800. 66 point break from opening range is exactly 6799.5. So this is a 66 point off open. Can someone document this, please? Just so that we know. Off the previous close, this is where we'd want some better odds, because this is what could give us the breaks to 05. 6805 would be 68 points off prior day's close. 0550, 0350. These are all really calculated areas. This would be a little bit better for odds, since this could be that engulfing off that 12-day. Off our low range, we're already hitting 66 points right here. 66 points just triggered on ES. This is a 66 point break here at 83.5. This is what could give us that push of 67, 68 points. Off weekly low range, we're now hitting 92 to 94 points, so this is an 88 point break. This is what could set us up for like 107 points or so on the week. I don't think they'll give us 128 to 132 points, but from today's weekly lows, if they were to do that, let's say by tomorrow, 128 point break would be the equivalent of getting to 6818.75, which makes sense because it's kind of like the bottom range that they held overnight yesterday, like off of here. It'd kind of be like a bull neutral to a bull neutral break. On a 132 point break, that's how we could get 6822, which is our really big core target that we've been trying to achieve for the last few weeks. So just so you guys are aware that these are the big areas for ES and how they're correlated to where we're currently trading. You see report latest time here was massive. Yeah, I saw that. Yes. It's crazy how they control everything. Every single thing. So this was a 66 point break here, guys, that 83.50. So we have really good odds of getting a stick break here on ES. Can someone document this? Izzy thinks that if we're actually able to achieve 68.03, 68.05 today, we actually do have odds to take out all-time highs as early as tomorrow. And the range area would be closer to 68.18, 68.22. That would be the earliest odd. That would also avoid us from staying stuck in an inside range on multiple time frames, like the 8-day, 9-day, 10-day, 11-day, 14-day, 15-day. These are all multiple inside bars. The only odd that we have is the 12-day, and today's the last trading session for this, and this flips over tomorrow. So this is what could open up that window if they were to come back and take out 68.0275. And if they did that, it would also be the equivalent of them breaking a 66 point range off these closing sticks. So that would make total sense if they did something like that. Do you see what I mean? Look, off the open close. Right here. So there's a lot of alignment here. Engulfing is taking out 0275, which is the same thing as taking out 66 points off yesterday's close and today's open. So breaking 83, 84, especially at these points in time, is what's going to really help our odds. MARA getting some stick breaks back over 82. So we want to watch that 230 period on this one too, just to see if they can bring it back. I don't know. Can you change the actual sound that it makes though? I've actually never even like looked at that. Gold did exactly what we thought this week too. So my big target on gold was that 4,382.27. It tagged just below that. This was so close. So this was a really big reason why. And this one had a flip date on the 22nd. So it kind of just turned down after stalling 8.2. Makes sense. They brought it back to these very calculated ranges here off 40.92, 41.14, 41.32. On my other gold template, I think we want to get back to 4.227. Let me just find it. Where's the gold template? That's a really good stick break there. Did I delete it? No. Yeah, 4.227. So if they're able to get back over these areas here, I don't see how they can't get back there. Like they did a really good job of sustaining these ranges today and getting those structural closing breaks yesterday. Tesla getting some really good sticks here for just ahead of 230. 230, 232 was the earliest odd on Tesla retesting these spots. So this is a big window. ES also getting the stick breaks above 83.50. Did it tag 8.4? Yeah, it did. So earliest odd of taking out 8.450 is not earliest odd. Best odd is closer to 230 to 236 window. This would be the best point in the day for them to take out these ranges. MARA needs to come back and clear this 1979, 1982. ideally during this time frame too. Tesla getting some really good stick breaks here ahead of 230 on Tesla. This gave a really good buyback above that 442 on Tesla. This is getting really good volume here too. So these were calculated ranges on Tesla where this thing cleared and accumulated some buy areas. 451, 452 I think could end up triggering on this name today. ES, I have the alert set. I just want to see if it gets stick breaks during this time. What do you guys think? I didn't even do a poll. 6, 7, 8, 450. 6, 7, 8, 6, 2, 5 breaks for 230, 236 p.m. period. I'm only setting that 10 minutes since it's already 2:30. Really good stick break here at 2:30. 6, 7, 8, 450 taken out exactly at 2:30. This can really help our odds. We'll see if they'll end up closing above this range. This is also equivalent to SPX tagging 6, 750. MARA unfortunately broke back down to that 1967. I think this is the area that we said it has to hold on a wider range, especially after stalling that 1994 mark. So how much reduction in range is this off that spot? This is 15 cents in reduction, which is linked back to this 1997 spot right here. These are not confined areas, so it makes it really hard. Does that make sense? When an area is not confined, so something that's more confined is like 7982. 9488, 87, these are not confined areas, which what that does is it allows a lot more room for movement. Does that make sense? These are more confined areas, 52, 79, okay? Kind of like this, whereas this kind of keeps it now at this point more neutralized. Which usually leaves room for volatility. We'll see if they can retract and retrace by that point in time here. Tesla getting some volatility here too on that 230 flip. We're going to be super cautious now off these areas. Yes, retesting here at 3.2. So 230 did break 8.3 or 8.450, but didn't close above. I want to see if the 232 can actually get a closing stick above this 84.50, 84.25. Two five close isn't bad. This is good accumulation above 8150. In between 8450 during the 236 period. We're gonna look to see if they can bring this back. The 4-3. XOM's coming back to retest that 116.38. Well, I said to swing XOM yesterday, so it's up to you. The idea was to take it long off 113 to 118. I still think it could get 118, but you kind of just have to measure your risk to reward. I wouldn't buy tomorrow's expiration, though. I would probably buy at least a week or two out if you're buying at this price point. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, baby. Hi.
Her smile's so cute. Say bye, Izzy. She's like her clothes.
Bye.
Say bye. Give me more cookies. Bye.
Do you guys see how heavy it is up here in these areas on ES though? Like between that 8550, 8150, 85, 86. This is a really big area for overheads on this one. The idea with this is around that 2018, especially off highs, there's about like 30 to 32 cents intervals here on both sides, okay, from like a net neutral range off 1979, 1982, and that 1952 mark. So it's kind of just to give you an idea of like overall risk to reward that's left remaining on this name. Probably closer to like this range in here, if they are able to sustain and take this back around. Otherwise, they could just make this very pinnable into the close. Well, The only thing is we've got Trump at 3. That's the only issue. But technically speaking, if they take out 8, 6, 7, 5, 8, 8 before 3, then I would just be a little bit cautious if you're shorting. You could take some shorts up here. They are good areas, but make sure you set stops. Just because if they really want to break it up, they can. Just kind of like how they've had that downside volatility, they could easily do the inverse. But that being said, these would be the best areas. If you are going to take a short, it would definitely be off like the 8.4 to 8.8 range. Mostly because they did stall off that 230, 236 period. What do you guys think? You think that they can break 8.625, 8.675 before 3? Barely any of you guys voted 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 5 break ahead of 3 p.m. Can you guys actually vote this time, please? I'll set this to 2 minutes. Yeah, that's good. I think we'll have a really good idea anyway, too, based on what they do here. Especially off like the 4, 8, and 50 period. MARA coming back and retesting that 1956 to 52 area. This needs back over that 6, 7 to avoid volatility risk back to 5.2. ES needs back over that 84.50. Can we get more votes, please? Crypto stalled that same exact spot again, 111.406. It's still holding off that 110.332, but not by much. Let me just move this alert to here. Reset. All right, let's see if the 248, 250 window can push range here. That's a good stick off 4.9 on an 8375 retest. Here's the 250 retest here of 8.4. Let me just delete this so I can see. Can someone document this? 250 breaking that 6.78450 right on time. This is setting up pretty nicely for an 8.550, 8.625, 8.675 break ahead of 3 o'clock with tiny odds of getting an 8.8 retest here before 3. Tesla not really moving with the index though. I didn't really check to see how NQ is moving here. I'll check it in a second. That's the first close above 8.550 though, 8.450 though, right? Yeah, it is. 84.50 close at 250. MARA backtesting that 1952. This is kind of the downside risk of this. If this does take out 52, this is where it could come back and basically just digest this afternoon. If they're able to sustain here ahead of 3, they can try retracting it back to that 6.779 this afternoon. Tesla failing and breaking down off that stall beneath that 44896. ES kind of just stalling here off that 84.50. We'd have to see some pretty good constructive sticks here in order for this to avoid downside. Tesla getting a really nasty breakdown. How much time do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 minutes. I think they'll test it. I don't see how they can't. 84.50 was tested on time. They also sustained 8.150 and 8.125. I don't know if you guys were watching here, like 8.125, 8.150 was sustained. So, and this closed above. I don't see how they can't test that 8.575, 8.6 here before 3. We just need some other participants. Where's Apple trading? 259. 85.25 being tested here. 254 was the earliest odd I had for an 8.6 test. As long as 250 was retraced back over 84.50. Hey. Watch that 30-second interval here to see if they try turning this around. There's some pressure. What do you guys think? MARA, like I said, if it holds off 1952, it held to the penny. They do have an odd of bringing this back, but it has to get some really good sticks. So we need basically the breaks of 5-6, 6-3, 6-7 in single break so that they can avoid continued volatility risk on this one. Tesla would be the same thing, except Tesla needs to basically hold above this 44142, get right back over 44404, and immediately retract back over 440. I would say at least 446. Do you guys see how this is barcoding here beneath 8.6 but above 8.450 and just ahead of 3? What do you guys think? Just say yes or no. I don't care if you guys get it right or wrong. It's just good to see what you guys think, especially when they're holding just beneath 8.6, just above 8.450 before 3. Quickly. You guys have like a minute and a half. Are these enough to be considered max ranges for the session today? If they decided they wanted to stall. There was an 8.76 stall here at 6.6. So I'm getting a break finally above that 3.8. Does this look constructive to you guys? I didn't really like that they brought it back beneath 8.450 before 259, but other than that, it does look pretty constructive, especially on the holds above 81.25, 81.50, 82.75, the stall of 8.6. But I do think that the 59 stick, at the very least, needs to be above 84.50. I didn't think that they would break 8.6 before 3 based on what they did at 56, 57. I could just tell based on this price action. But if they can bring it at least back over 84.50, 3 o'clock, 301 definitely has an odd of at least trying to come back and test this range. Yeah, but not before 3. I could tell based on how they stalled right here. You see this? And we do have some volatility risk now too if Trump is scheduled to speak. 84.50 tested here in the first opening seconds of the 3 o'clock candle. So odds of breaking after 3, increase volatility. Can someone write that down? If they break 8.6 at 3 after 3, volatility risk increases. So just keep that in mind. Breaking ahead would have heavily reduced our odds of volatility. So this could definitely get volatile here. We'll see if we can get an 8-6 break off that 3 o'clock stick. Probably within like the 30-second interval flips. I think they're retesting 85.75 here. See if they can get some structure breaks for 301. Tesla looking to see if they can get back over 444.04. Can someone share headlines if you're not trading? Do you guys understand that concept? Hey? Do you guys understand that concept? If you keep it a 5-minute extension here open, that would mean that you would probably need to try at least retesting this by, I would say 304, 305. If they can't keep this intact within that 5-minute window, I would say volatility will start increasing, especially on 3 stalls of 8-6. So far we've stalled 6, 7, 8, 5, 7, 5 3 times. We need to start seeing some more constructive price action, I would say, at 304.05. What do you guys think? You think that they extend the 5-minute window here, or you think that they're gonna stall, delay, reduce range? Come on. Do you guys see that news? NVIDIA working with Uber on vehicle development. I think YouTube automatically streams, but I don't even have it open.
Base 44, a complete AI creation platform.
He hasn't spoken yet, I don't think. So just be very, very careful here, guys. Like, thumb stalling 8.6 before Trump speaks, and that being a potential max range at 86.25, 86.50, I would just be very, 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 very cautious. Okay? Shocker. $19.49, $19.52 being retested on this one here too. XOM getting some really good stick breaks back to 116.70. Did you take that long on XOM? This to the 312 window. You could see the volatility coming in at 305. The window reopens here at like 309, 310. Yeah, I saw that just below 67.50. So it makes sense that that would also be the overhead on SPX, like having alignment with ES being off that range, like 6786. Since SPX would be 67.50. That's pretty funny, actually. Let's see what they do into the close here. You guys know what the conditions would be, right? For like 309, 310, if they're going to reset this. So there was some increase in volatility between 305 to 309. 309 has some odds of turning it back around to retest here as early as 312. Maybe this is the period that he might actually jump on the mic then. We could start seeing some good sticks now, you guys, between the 309 to 312, 318 period. Let's see if they can get this back over 8.4. Can someone document the 310 stick, please? This is the period to try negating that volatility risk that we have. Basically between 309 and 312, which puts a lot of pressure for 310 to get back to 84.50. This is where we could start seeing some volatility come in and some increase in sticks. Tesla getting some sticks. Crypto getting some sticks. See if we can get some range breaks here off 8.4. Do you guys understand this concept or no? 6, 7, 8, 5, 7, 5 retest here right at 310. Do you see that? That's exactly how we drew that. That is insane. Odds for a test here at 312 are increased. It's looking like he might maybe start speaking in the next few minutes based on these time intervals here on ES. What do you guys think? How many think that they'll break this high here at 312? Yeah, because we still closed at 8450 at 304 ahead of this volatility flip. And the window reopens at 309, 310. There it is, look. I'm telling you, he's gonna say, he's gonna say something in the next few minutes here. This window has some pretty good odds of volatility, so let's see. And also Snack, they might have delayed it until right before he speaks, like closer to that. Does that make sense? So if there was a delay, they might have had to reduce range, bring it back, still sustain 8.2. Another way you can think about it is this time they actually held a little bit higher off of 8.150 by 50 cents. Are you listening? Which could actually give you an increased odd of now recycling it to the upside and actually triggering 86.25. Does that make sense? So let's see. Oh. Are you guys scared? You think you'll finally have an inverse effect this time and actually make the market go up? I don't know. That's a pretty big overhead. It just says he's making an announcement. You guys have the link. We're scared because Trump's gonna speak and 86 is our overhead. And we have some time intervals here between 316 and 318. Oh, oh, oh. Thank you. These people in the comments are just ranking the girl. Hello. Let's use some caution here. Crypto basically just stalled at 111,406. So I was looking to see if it'd hold that calculated range off 105,959. It did. It actually held it exactly to that spot too, but this needs back over 113 by tomorrow to negate some risk for the weekend. I don't really like that reduction stick, guys, at 316. Well, maybe. More upside for what? For ES? I don't know, Katie. Honestly, this is a tricky spot because 86.25 is that was our overhead for the session today, right? So, and like they're stalling right beneath it here. And before 3:30. So if they want to stall this spot, they definitely can. Like this is more than enough to be considered a max range for the session today, but I don't really like how they're stalling beneath 8450 ahead of this 318 period, but they did technically come back and reset this condition at 309, 310, 312. This was really good timing on Bitcoin this afternoon too. Or 1250, 2 to 54 flips. MARA losing that 1950. I'm not surprised though because crypto just lost that 110,470 spot and this 110,322, especially off that 318, 321 period here ahead of Trump speaking. They really just left him to speak for the last 30 minutes of the day. Like, come on. Why? Why would you guys do that? If that makes sense. Like, it's a good spot to take a short, right? Off 85, 75, 86. But if he says something and then you get like a 20-point stick, then you're basically screwed, right? Like, I put stops on my long position instead. Only because they're doing a really good job of sustaining structure here. Like, if they weren't doing such a good job, then I'd be like, But they are, so I feel like, I don't know, maybe he might have an inverse effect today. We'll see. And they came back, look, and they still sustained here. 309 sustained here. Do you see it? I'm deleting my flips as I go, but like the 309, 310 was perfect. And now this next window is between that 318 to 321. So let's see if we actually get a break this time above 85.75, then we'll have way better odds of clearing this time. 310, 312 stalled, 8575 here, but how much time is left in this candle? They still stalled. This time they actually stalled a little bit lower than that 8575. What do you guys think his announcement is? Cartels? Okay. I mean, you just got some volume here. I am watching some individual names too, just to see if they have a little bit more volatility than ES. I do want to see NQ here though. Oh, they scheduled him for literally our 3:30 period. Come on. Where did NQ stall? Oh wow, okay, NQ is stalling pretty close to our big overheads, guys. These 33, 34 point intervals. Yeah, right before imbalance prints. You could do a hedge.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
The comments in this chat.
Thank you. Please.
Oh no. Please don't crash the market and let us get an 8-6 break.
It's like old home week. What a job you're doing. And thank you very much for that. We want to begin by thanking the people that have done such a great job at the White House. They have been doing really incredible work during a shutdown. I don't even know if they're supposed to be working, but they wouldn't miss a day. So I just want to thank everybody for that very much. And we're here today to discuss a sweeping, unprecedented, and historically successful operation that my administration has carried out in recent weeks to arrest, prosecute, and permanently remove members of foreign drug cartels from American soil. And the people gathered around this table are the ones that are doing it, and in this room. Some of them sitting a little bit on side. Some of them, I'm surprised, are not actually at the table. You people should be very insulted by that. But you've done a great job back there. On my first day in office earlier this year, I signed an executive order to officially designate the drug cartels and savage transnational gangs as foreign terrorist organizations. It was my honor to do so. And on that same day, I also signed an order directing the creation of the Homeland Security Task Force to bring together all federal, state, and local partners to achieve the national policy goal of eliminating the cartel presence in America once and for all. and the results are, and it's early, and the results are spectacular. Led by ICE and the FBI, this task force includes the Department of Justice, the Department of War, DHS, the intelligence community, ATF, the DEA, the U.S. Marshals, and the state and local agencies in every part of our country. Other than that, we don't include too many people. That's a hell of a group, isn't it, huh? When you think of it. That's not a group you want against you. Certainly not at one time. In addition to the task force members, we're pleased to be joined by representatives of law enforcement at every level, the highest level, actually, but every level, including National President of the Fraternal Order of Police, Patrick Yos. Where's Patrick? Patrick, thank you, Patrick. Thank you for the endorsement, too. That really hit it off. I would have gotten 98% anyway, but it was still good to have your endorsement. Thank you, Patrick. I don't forget those things. President of the National Sheriff's Association, Chris West. Chris? Thank you, Chris, very much. Great, good job. Major Cities Chief Association Executive Director, Laura Cooper. Laura? Thank you, Laura, very much. Major County Sheriffs of America Executive Director, Megan Noland. Megan, thank you. Thank you very much. And President of the National Border Patrol Council, my friend, and a very good speaker, by the way. Whenever he gets up and speaks, I say, that guy can really speak. I don't know. I don't want him to run for office. I want him to stay where he is. Paul Perez. Paul. Thank you, Paul. Where is Paul? Hi, Paul. What are you doing over there, Paul? Good job. Good speaker you are, though, Paul. I mean it, too. You've made some incredible speeches. And all from the heart, too, right? Some great ones. Today you'll hear details from my national security and homeland security.
They brought Tesla back to that 446, 84, 47, 21. This time actually trading right at those spots, if you guys can see. This is kind of this is a little bit more calculated this time because they're trading right at the range in terms of highs, lows, open, close.
Disgraceful. In a matter of weeks, the task force has made the largest number of arrests of cartel leaders, operatives, and gang members in American history, more than 3,000 and counting. That includes members of the ultra-violent New Generation Cartel, the Sinaloa Cartel, the LNFM Cartel, MS-13 Cartel, and you know MS-13, the gang, and Tren de Aragua, another beauty. That's a group of real garbage.
I had the best odds at 3:30, 32 if they stalled during this time here, especially if they delayed him getting on the mic until imbalance prints. Obviously, imbalance prints could help with that volatility too.
Numbering over 120,000, it's a record, and 120,000 criminal arrests. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, for 4 long years before I took office, the last administration allowed the cartels and their operatives to frankly take over our country, to freely infiltrate America and all the communities nationwide. Along with transnational gangs, these groups have unleashed more bloodshed and killing on American soil than all other terrorist groups combined. These are the worst of the worst. It should now be clear to the entire world that the cartels are the ISIS of the Western Hemisphere, in addition to their monstrous violence, such as cutting off heads, burning their enemies alive, and burning innocent people alive, too, by the way. The cartels control large swaths of territory. They maintain vast arsenals of weapons and soldiers, and they use extortion, murder, kidnapping to exercise political and economic control. Thank you very much, Joe Biden, for allowing that to happen. Biden surrendered he just surrendered our country to the cartels. Don't worry, it gets better. We're taking it back. It's really fast at levels that nobody's ever seen before. But what we had to put up with, what we inherited, was just a disgrace. And while Biden was president, if he was president, I think the Autopen was president, not Biden. Nearly 100% of those who infiltrated our southern border did so because they were personally approved. They admitted they were just what happened, assisted by the most dangerous and violent criminal organizations anywhere on the planet. The worst people on the planet they allowed into our beautiful country. Under the Trump administration, we're finally treating the cartels as the core national security threat that they really are. The cartels are waging war on America, and just as I promised in the campaign, we're waging war on them like they've never seen before. All you have to do is turn on your television and you'll see what's happening to them. Past administrations have tried to mitigate this threat.
Tesla getting
Our
a break here
objective
at
is to
332 on that
eliminate it, not
447.21
mitigate it,
break.
we're
This was a
getting them
lot
out.
more structured this time
The
between
bad
these
ones we're
ranges.
putting in prison. We hate to do that because that means we're stuck with them for
332
50
getting
years
a cleared
or
open
more.
above
In recent weeks,
44721
our Homeland Security
and trying to
Task
push
Force
back
has
over
seized more than 70
448.
tons of deadly narcotics, along with more than 1,000 illegal guns. That's just recently. This is already the most successful anti-cartel and anti-gang operation in American history, and it's just getting started. We have incredible people. A lot of them are in this room with us today, and it's an honor to have them. But we're going to not stop until the threat has been fully and completely eradicated. I want to thank task force members with us today, including the person who's doing a fantastic job, Attorney General Pam Bondi. Thank you, Pam. Thank you. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. Sounds so much better than Secretary of Defense. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that? I don't know. It sounds, you know, we won the First World War, the Second World War. I would say everything before and everything in between. And then we got woke and we said, well, let's call it defense. I think we like it this way better. You know, it's funny. That's something I thought it would be maybe controversial. And it's only controversial that we changed the name in the first place. It's not controversial at all. It's been unbelievably well accepted, Pete. Hasn't it, right? It's been pretty amazing. I thought it would be controversial. People want to have our country back. People want to do exactly what we're doing right now. We're getting a lot of credit for it, and we should. I want to thank, though, Pete. You're doing a great job. Pete Hegseth. Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. Kristi, thank you very much. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, good job. And the heads of all of the law enforcement agencies all throughout the room. You're really amazing, the job you've done. To provide additional details on our mission, I would like also to ask General Bondi to say a few words, followed by Secretary Noem, Secretary Hegseth, Director Gabbard, Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller. Stephen, you're such a superstar, Stephen. They called Stephen the other day a very bad name, and I said, you should sue them, Stephen. I think he will. I hope he does. FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. And I just want to say it's an honor, the job we're doing.
Brendan.
And these people are doing absolutely incredible. I'll just add a couple of things. In Memphis, as you know, where the numbers are down in half already, and it's only been about 2 weeks. You're doing a fantastic job there. Thank you. Incredible. Nobody thought it was possible. It was really it was a very sick city. It was horrible what happened there. People would go from, if you're on the board of FedEx, they would ride you 1 block to the hotel. They said you couldn't walk it because it was too dangerous. And they're already feeling better about it. But the best example right now is Washington, D.C. We went from one of the most unsafe places in the planet, I hate to say, but in this country, to a totally safe city. It's nothing's crime-free, I guess, but this is about as close to crime-free as you're going to get. And you guys have done an incredible job with that. Every one of you have worked so hard on this one, and it's our nation's capital. And people would go to the nation. They'd go from, I always say, Iowa, Indiana. They'd go from Florida. They'd come up. They want to see the monument. I want to see the Lincoln Memorial. I want to see one of the monuments, any one of them, and they'd go home in a coffin. But not anymore. It's not happening anymore. We haven't had that happen in a long time. It was averaging more than one a week, one person a week. Who would think that's possible? And it hasn't happened anymore. And we have a safe city. We have a city where the restaurants are booming. People are going out. Nobody's being mugged, hit over the head with a baseball bat. None of the stuff is gone. We took out 1,700 criminals, many of them career criminals, many of them given to us by Joe Biden and his ridiculous open borders policy. They came in from jails from all over the world, not just South America, from all over the world. Jails, they came in from mental institutions and insane asylums all over the world, drug dealers, and we got them the hell out of here. They're either that or if they're so bad, as I said before, we put them in jail because we can't take a chance that they come back. But I want to just say that Washington, D.C. is such an example of what could be done. And now the same thing's happening in Memphis. We're just halfway through the process, and already the numbers are far superior, far better than what we would have thought at this time. And Chicago, I just saw the number. Last week, it was last weekend, 4 were murdered, 11 were shot. And then I have this guy Pritzker, is a very weak governor. Let me be nice. I'm going to be very nice. He's extremely weak. He's pathetic. I have Pritzker get up and say how great they're doing in Chicago. They're doing very poorly. So 4 were murdered, 4, 11 were shot. I would say, and that was not a bad week for him. Okay, that was not a bad week. He's had somewhere 18 or 19 were murdered. And you know what his excuse was? Yeah, but that was a long weekend. Okay, can you believe it? He said that was a long weekend. He's bad, and the mayor is worse. I mean, that mayor is worse. Low IQ, very low IQ, and we don't need low IQ people. We need people that are going to take care. And I love Chicago, and I love those beautiful women, black women, beautiful women wearing MAGA hats, and they're all over the place in Chicago. They want protection. They don't care if it's the National Guard, if it's the Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines. They'll take Space Force, okay? Space Force, send them in. They just don't want to be mugged, killed, raped, shot in the head, and we stop it. So we're going to be given a very special, we're going to give Chicago very special care. As you probably know, maybe you heard, we were going to do a big surge in San Francisco, but I got a great call from some incredible people, some friends of mine, very successful people. Mark, everybody knows him, and Jensen, everybody knows Jensen, NVIDIA, and others called me from San Francisco, and they said, we're working really
How is
hard
that
with the mayor.
appropriate to say?
We're making progress. Would it be possible for you to hold off the surge? And I had 4 or 5 calls, and I think they're making progress of their own. That would be the greatest. I mean, if they could do that, that'd be great. And they have great competence in those people. I mean, incredible competence. Some of the smartest business leaders, and they're working very well with the police department. They're doing a good job. So we are holding off that surge, everybody, and we're going to let them see if they can do it. I said, I think we can do it much faster. I know we can do it faster. I think we can do it better than anybody. We can take criminals out that they're not going to know about, and probably they don't have the legal authority maybe to do what we can. But I'm okay with it, and we're going to let San Francisco, has the potential to be, it was a great, great city, has the potential very quickly to be a great city again. And these are the companies that are there that are all working, and those are the people that asked me, could you do away with the surge, and let's see how it works. And we'll do that. If we need to, we'll do it. But it's possible that we won't need to, and we will be focusing on other places like Chicago, and we'll have Chicago taken care of very quickly. But just remember, 11 people shot, 4 people murdered, okay? And that was this weekend, and that was Chicago. And then you'll see Pritzker get up and talk about, well, we have it under control. They don't have it under control. Just the opposite, it's getting worse. So we'll take care of, as soon as we give the go-ahead, which is all I have to do is give the go-ahead. We won the big court case the other day on the National Guard. That was a good case. Same thing with Portland, speaking of that, because that's where we won it. But, I mean, I looked the other night, Saturday night, Portland is like burning to the ground, and these people are saying it's just friendly stuff. The whole place is burning to the ground. So we'll take care of that one. That's like an insurrection more than it is anything else. That's crazy. Portland's crazy. And then you listen to these radical left people talking about it's really okay. You're seeing things. You're really seeing things. So we're going to take care of Chicago. We're going to take care of Portland. We're going to take care of Memphis. We're proud of D.C. There's nothing to take care of anymore, but we're not going to let it ever go bad. It's never going to happen again, our nation's capital. And with that, I'm just going to tell you that Pam Bondi has done a fantastic job. And Pam, would you say a few words, please?
Thank you, President Trump, and thank you for your leadership. And This is all about collaboration. And around this table, I'm looking around this table, we all work so well together. I don't think another administration in our nation's history has worked so well together. We talk constantly, Secretary Noem, Tulsi, Pete, constantly, but also all of our agencies working hand in hand, and that's why this is so successful. And these people around this table are working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, even though the Democrats have tried to shut down the government. Terry Cole, I'm laughing because you're around the clock, you're all over the world. Director Patel, you're unstoppable what you're doing around this country. Gowdy Serralta, U.S. Marshal, Rob Sakata and Dan Driscoll wearing your ATF hats. What, Rob, I was on the texting, Todd Blanche and I were on the texting you at 1 a.m. on cases. I mean, that's how committed all of these people are to just keeping all of our citizens safe. And that's what it's all about. And this project is the brainchild of Stephen Miller. And you are doing so much to keep our citizens safe, our kids safe, and get these drugs off our streets. Like Mayor of San Francisco and I are going to be meeting on fentanyl in a few weeks and working hand in hand on that. Secretary Noem spoke to him. But the results of this last month have been historic. As the president said, in the last month, think about this, 3,200, more than 3,200 violent gangs and drug dealers have been taken off the streets. Off the streets. Now, Director Patel and all of these agencies have also been working so hard on getting the leadership. But we are getting all the gang members off the streets and the drug dealers, Sinaloa, CJNG, MS-13, and more, TDA. 91 tons of drugs have been seized as a result of this task force. We tried to put this in perspective for you. This would be filling 4 18-wheelers for all the drugs just in the last month that have been taken off the street. 58,000 kilos of cocaine. Think about a big backyard swimming pool. That would fill 1.5 swimming pools. Just the powder cocaine that has been removed, saving lives this last month, thanks to all of these people around the table. 2,300 kilos of fentanyl powder and 2.1 million fentanyl pills off the streets. And as the president said, more than 1,000 illegal guns. The Biden administration was, for way too
They're
long,
probably gonna
all of
use
these
it
great law
themselves.
enforcement officers surrounding the table were not able to do their jobs. What they've said is now they've been uncuffed. They can do their jobs now. We've been watching transnational gangs grow in our country, become organized, set up infrastructure in all of our states, but no longer under President Trump. We are destroying the infrastructure.
Tesla retracting right at
no longer on
345. I had some odds
All
at
of these
345 for a
women
retest
are
here,
on
but at
offense,
348.
So they better get ready.
76
We're
and
dismantling the
96
cartels,
mark,
and
with
we are
some better
taking the
odds to break
leaders in
ahead at
custody
350 this
and
time.
all of the gangs. We are going to supercharge this work. This is not a pilot program. This is permanent. We are here to stay. And Secretary Hegseth, we couldn't do this without you and the Department of War. Thank you all so much for everything you're doing around this table, working tirelessly. And President Trump, thank you for giving them the ability to do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President, since the year 2000, we have lost over 1 million Americans to drugs, to overdoses, to these cartels that have proliferated that kind of a disease on our people and have gone to war with our next generation of Americans. When you signed the executive order that was protecting the American people from invasion, what you did is that you took these cartels and gangs that we've known for decades and you declared them to be what they really are, and that's terrorists. You declared war on them, and you didn't say we were just going to fight them. You said we were going to destroy them. And everybody around this table is so honored to be here to work with you to destroy these terrorists that have been killing Americans for years and getting rich off of it. I'm so proud of the work that was done just in the September surge. You referenced that earlier. We had over 400 operations that went down in those first 43 days of the Homeland Security Task Force in operations that brought, as Pam referenced, 3,200 terrorists to justice, got them off the streets. Sir, we also have had over precursors and chemicals that were brought in. We've had the work at the southern border. We've got Border Patrol here at the table with you. Fentanyl has been cut down by 50% coming into this country over our borders. We've continued to work not just nationally, but internationally and on our maritime borders as well. The ICE agents that have so much violence against them and threats against them, sir, they get up every day ready to work with this task force to be able to keep people safe. And then we've got Coast Guard, who's been doing just a ton of our incredible interdictions out on the seas and the waters in cooperation with operations that you've targeted in the Caribbean with the Department of War. And sir, I just want to thank you for the leadership you put at this table, for your cabinet members, for Stephen Miller, for putting this in place to make sure that what you did when you consolidated the Homeland Security Task Force, you took 1,000 other task forces that were already established in the federal government and you streamlined them into this room, into this group right here, so that we can look at each other in the face every day and say, what's our problem? How do we address it? How do we fix it? And then we go to work together with our arms linked to do exactly what you told us to do. And that's not just protect the American people from invasion, but to kill these terrorists. You gave us the task to eliminate them, destroy them, so that they can't destroy the next generation of Americans. So thank you, sir. Thank you for the people you put around this table.
Thank you very much. That's a great job. Thank you. Pete?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. Chief, likewise, Tulsi and Todd and Dan and Pam and Christy and Stephen and Cash. I mean, I could go around the table. From the Department of War, we are thankful and grateful for the incredible effort that your agencies put in. And we could not be more proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with you, not superficially, not kind of over here, but front and center on the Homeland Security Task Force, right there with you. Because our department has spent over 2 decades defending other homelands, and we're very proud to be defending our own. And if you talk to the troops down, say, on the southwest border, Mr. President, morale is sky high and continues to be, because they're proud to be defending their own communities, their own state, and their own country. So when that executive order was signed, the mission was clear: protecting the American people against invasion. And so the Department of War went straight to the southwest border. We still have 10,000 troops there. We have national defense areas. We're standing alongside the Border Patrol, and we've locked that border down, 100% control of the southwest border. We stopped the invasion. And then we're proud to be going on the offense, counter-cartel operations. And it's not counter-cartel, as was mentioned. These are designated terrorist organizations, foreign terrorist organizations. Our generation spent the better part of 2 decades hunting Al-Qaeda, hunting ISIS. Well, as the president said, this is the ISIS, this is the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere. They intimidate, they terrorize, they extort, they poison the American people. The president's right. Every boat we strike is 25,000 Americans whose lives are saved because of the drugs that were headed in our direction. So our message to these foreign terrorist organizations is, we will treat you like we have treated Al-Qaeda. We will find you, we will map your networks, we will hunt you down, and we will kill you. And you've seen that evidence in the maritime domain, whether it's in the Caribbean or in the Pacific with the last 2 strikes. We know exactly who these people are. We know what networks they work with, what foreign terrorist organizations they're
There's
part
that
of.
7-2 back test, guys, on
Where
ES.
they originated from, what they're carrying.
We
And
could
they
see
know
some
who they
volatility
are.
here into the close.
And
Just
that
be
will soon
careful.
start to change the calculus of these boats. So the critique of this is, of course, as often is the case, wrong. We know our authorities. It's locked tight, and we're going to treat them like foreign terrorist organizations on the offense. So the Department of War is not going to degrade or just simply arrest. We're going to defeat and destroy these terrorist organizations to defend the homeland.
That was a really good short, and this could easily come back and retrace now. Tesla getting a break of that 449 finally.
Communities of Americans safer in the process. We think it's a very core mission of the Department of War, and we're proud to be here, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Pete. Thank you. Tulsi, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The key reason that you are hearing about these incredible effects is, number one, the team that you've assembled here and the leadership and the tone that you have set, first and foremost, about keeping the American people safe. The intelligence community plays a critical role in being able to support our law enforcement at the federal, state, and local level to make sure that they are armed with actionable intelligence to be able to actually go after those who threaten the safety and security of the American people. Mr. President, under your leadership, for the first time, there is a newly created National Intelligence Fusion Cell at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, National Counterterrorism, that has a very simple purpose: to make sure that we have two-way intelligence sharing of actionable information between the intelligence community and law enforcement. I want to talk briefly about three successes that we've had just here in the last few weeks, Mr. President, through the success of this interagency fusion cell. Just this last week, our National Counterterrorism Center supported, through actionable intelligence to both U.S. law enforcement as well as Mexican law enforcement, the arrest of a Sinaloa cartel boss, El Plato, in Juarez, Mexico, as well as his top 3 money launderers. In a separate and recent successful interagency operation, NCTC worked closely with the U.S. Marshals Service that led to the arrest of another dangerous Sinaloa cartel member responsible for tracking huge amounts of cocaine and hundreds of thousands of dollars in this single incident with drug proceeds through his network. And I'll say the last example I'll share is probably the most insidious, was providing intelligence to the Mexican law enforcement that led to the arrest of a CJNG cartel-affiliated baby trafficker called La Diabla. Her whole money-making operation was centered around luring pregnant women, performing illegal C-sections, harvesting organs, and selling newborn babies. Mr. President, it's your leadership that has made all of this possible. I can tell you, in the midst of this government shutdown, our folks, like everyone around this table, are working 24/7 without pay and eager to get after this because they believe in your leadership and the mission that you have presented to them. Thank you, Mr. President. I'll hand this off to Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller, the leader of this task force.
Let me just say, Mr. President, that
I'm looking to see if they can get back over 7875, 7925 and retrace that 8125, 8150 by that 355 period. That's the only way that we would have odds of retesting 8586 into the close. This is a pinnable close, like I was saying earlier. Usually that means that they're going to just sustain between 7-1, 7-2, and between this 8-6 range. It's kind of like the core to core breaks.
Were claiming more and more territory. City services were buckling.
I would like to see if MARA can get back over that 1952 into the close.
And you alone saved it. And when you stepped forward originally in 2016, you started the movement to make America great again. And that means make America great again in every way. And that means safety and prosperity and peace and freedom from cartels and crime and gangs. And your vision and your leadership in declaring war on the drug cartels is the single most successful public safety initiative in American history. And I need the media to understand what President Trump has done. People have been talking about drug cartels for longer than I've been alive. And everyone has just taken for granted that they can't be touched or stopped. They're too big, they're too powerful, they're too evil, they're too murderous. They can operate with impunity. And in just 9 months, President Trump is the only American leader, not just in our lifetimes, but ever, who actually take the fight to the drug cartel, who actually seek their eradication, and it is happening. And so while the Democrats are shutting the government down and fighting for free health care for illegal aliens, look at what President Trump has assembled here. He's assembled a team under his vision, direction, and leadership that is saving hundreds of thousands of lives. Hundreds of thousands of lives. And only President Trump could have done this. And I will say one last thing, which is that his courage has been an inspiration to everyone else in this room. There are people in this room, I'm looking at, for example, at Todd Lyons, who have been relentlessly doxxed and harassed and threatened. But when they see President Trump's courage, what he's been through for 10 years to save America, when they came after his family, his businesses, his safety, his freedom, everyone at this table knows we can give whatever it takes to get the mission done. So President Trump, thank you for your leadership, your boldness, your courage, and your vision. We're honored to serve underneath you.
Well, I want to thank you, Stephen, and I have to say that, you know, I've been making the rounds. I'm leaving tomorrow for some very big meetings, including with the president of China, where I think we're going to come out very well, and everyone's going to be very happy. But everybody said the same thing. A year ago, we had a dead country. We were a dead country. We really were, in a lot of ways. Not just this. We were dead as doornails on this, but we were a country that was in serious trouble, and beyond that. And we have the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. The whole world is talking about it. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're going to clear up this crime in our cities. We can do it quickly, too. They showed how quickly we could do it in D.C. It was a real bad place. It was a real mess. Dirty, filthy, disgusting, graffiti all over the place, tents on every ounce of parks that we had. Just disgusting. And I rode around last weekend. I rode around the city. I felt very safe in that car, but you know, I would have done it without it. I wouldn't need that car so much anymore, I will tell you. But the place was clean. We've started that also. Not only law and order, but the cleanliness is important. I think cleanliness is almost a part of law and order. If you see dirty, disgusting streets and potholes all over the place and railings falling down and graffiti all over the marble, beautiful statuary marble columns, those gorgeous columns where they had graffiti, it's all gone. And I think it's a part of it. I really do. I think it's a big part of it. But we have a city that we can be proud of. We're going to be that way with every city we have. That's why with San Francisco, I wish them luck, but we could do it so much faster. I told the mayor, I love what you're doing. I respect it, and I respect the people that are doing it. They're the biggest people in the country. They're the biggest people in the world. A lot of the high tech. Some people like them, some people don't, but they're smart, and they want to do it. And I said, I am so honored to let you do it, and if it doesn't work out, we'll do it for you very quickly. But I just want to thank the people around this table are amazing. Cash, please go ahead.
Mr. President, I'll just keep it short, but I think what the media should realize is the amount of courage it takes to do this. And you led that mission. You led it during your campaign, and you brought it to the American people. I think the media should focus on some of these numbers the Attorney General just riled off. Those aren't numbers, those are lives. Lives saved by the millions. Enough, enough fentanyl to kill over 200 million Americans, gone, evaporated off our streets permanently. Your vision to safeguard American freedoms and our children and our future is the most courageous thing I've ever seen a president of the United States ever do. And your ability to marshal it out in 8 months, these statistics would have taken other administrations decades. And the partnership that you see around the table, I just want to, sum it up with the following. When I call these folks around the table, when I call our state and local law enforcement partners who have been absolutely critical to this mission, when Stephen Miller called me and said we're going to create the Homeland Security Task Force and the FBI and DHS are going to co-lead it, I said absolutely. The country's been yearning for this and needing it. And the one thing I see different than any other administration is when I call these people, they pick up. I don't get a voicemail. When I make an ask, they answer, and the same is true. And so the FBI is playing a pivotal role in your administration in helping lead out this mission, and Stephen's vision has finally come to life. And instead of attacking the people at this table, maybe the media should go out there and talk to the lives that have been saved forever and the communities that have been safeguarded, because it takes courage to do that. It takes courage to implement that plan, and it takes a president, President Trump, to put a leadership team like this together. We are actual friends, and I know the media doesn't want us to call us that, but we do that. We do hang out. We do work together. It's a 24/7, 365 mission that doesn't turn off, Mr. President. And as Stephen said, we're inspired by your leadership, and this country's thankful for these 8 months, and I can't wait to see what the next 4 years looks like.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Cash. Great job. Todd, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The number that I think matters, over 3,266 terrorists have been taken off the streets in 2 months. And for each of those arrests, there's anywhere from between 4 to 20 law enforcement agents, federal, state, and local, executing those arrests. And that means every one of them are putting their lives on the line to make these arrests, to make our communities safer. And so what I will say to them is thank you, but also what I will say to them is that to the extent that there are politicians, as recently as today, suggesting they are doing something wrong. We have governors, district attorneys, mayors, and even congresswomen suggesting that our federal law enforcement and the state and local law enforcement that are helping them are doing something wrong. That is disgusting and something that we will not tolerate. That every day Attorney General Bondi and I talk with all of our partners, making sure that they know that any one of our federal agents, our state or local agents working under the HSTF banner, are even touched by any of these terrorists or rioters, they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. When politicians aid these terrorists,
okay, guys, I'm gonna sign off. Tesla had a decent close above this 44899.
We will not tolerate.
I didn't mind the
So,
close on
thank you to
XOM
all
because
of
it
our
still
state
held
and local,
115.76 and retraced here,
men and
but I
women
still
that
would
are
have preferred a
helping us,
break
our
above
federal law enforcement officers are literally putting their lives on the
160, and it did
line
give some volume into the
every single
close.
day.
Yeah, it's not bad in this area. It's exactly what I said it was going to do. Probably just stay stuck here. Intel Crossing. Intel has earnings after the bell today.
Any questions, maybe pertaining?
So really big spots on Intel.
Pertaining to this for a little while.
I think it might actually finally trigger our 41 target today for Intel. That was our big break on this one.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Especially on this.
Mr. President, thank you. Good to see you. If I could just ask both
The
of
hold
you,
above that
Secretary
34.56.
Hegseth, there's reporting the U.S. just sent B-1 bombers near Venezuela to ramp up some military pressure there. Is that accurate? And can you tell us more about that mission?
No, it's not accurate. No, it's false. But we're not happy with Venezuela for a lot of reasons, drugs being one of them, but also they've been sending their prisoners into our country for years under the Biden administration. Not anymore. We have a closed border. We had actually nobody for the last 4 months, I guess 5 months. They say they report nothing. They report zero. I don't know if that can be possible, but we'll accept it, right, fellas? But we have closed borders. We have people coming into our country, but they only come in legally. We have the strongest borders we've ever had. We might have the strongest borders of almost any nation right now. And that's a big difference from what it was 2 years ago when everybody was pouring in. But we're very unhappy with Venezuela because of what they've done. They've emptied their prisons into our country. Nobody can do that. Only a stupid person would have accepted it. And that's what we had running our country, very stupid people. So we're not happy with Venezuela, I will tell you. Yeah.
Mr. President.
Go
Mr.
ahead.
President.
Yeah. Go ahead. You okay?
Yes. On fentanyl.
We're going to lose
Sorry
it.
about that. On
we
fentanyl,
we have
President
some
Trump.
good medical help right over there. That's all right.
On fentanyl, according to CDC data, nearly 330,000 Americans died over the past 5 years from fentanyl. That's 1 in every 1,000 Americans who died.
It's more than that, but it's all right.
Yes,
it's
I
more.
know you think it's even more.
I'll be discussing that with President
Yes,
Xi.
so that's actually my question.
I figured it
I was wondering, since it mostly comes from China and has caused such carnage in the U.S., what are you going to say to convey the seriousness? Also, a second question for you or Secretary Hegseth. Is there any evidence that China is now smuggling fentanyl through Venezuela to bypass U.S. and Mexican port controls?
They are doing that, yes. But they are paying right now a 20% tariff because of fentanyl. That's billions and billions of dollars that they're paying. We're actually, on November 1st, the tariff on China goes to 157%, which is record-setting territory. And we don't want that because it's not sustainable for them. They can't sustain that. We don't want them to have to go through that. So I'm meeting with President Xi, and I would say we have some big issues, like with the farmers and various other things, but the first question I'm going to be asking him about is fentanyl. And if you think about it, they make $100 million. Think of this. They make $100 million selling fentanyl into our country. $100 million. They lose $100 billion with the 20% tariff. So it's not a good business proposition. It's $100 billion approximately that they have to pay. It's a big penalty to make $100 million. So I think they want to do something. They want to put it on the list.
I'd say any close above 78, 79, ideally over 81.50 would be a good close for us today. Overnight conditions, I just want to see if we can consolidate core ranges. We don't really have super high odds. Let me just close this. We don't really have super high odds of them breaking all-time highs tomorrow, but I mean we can just keep that probability on the table. 6788, 6790 still remains an overhead. I would probably want to avoid going back to the zone at this point. So at the very least, if we can at least hold above 6758, 6764, that would be good, especially since they held 3844 in real time today. Anything over 6668 would be even better if they can sustain there, but I think we can have some room down to the means, especially if that would be more so, guys, if they don't want to break into the zone range. Like if they don't want to break to these areas here, okay, then we have higher odds of staying closer to these ranges here. Does that make sense? And remember how I said that Friday could just end up being exactly what I drew in that diagram yesterday, where they could just, this is exactly how it traded. It's exactly what we drew, which is just like them keeping this sideways. Where is it? What I drew is exactly how it ended up playing out, which I know isn't really the best for range, but this is what I drew. Can you guys see? This is what I drew yesterday night, okay? Especially if they hold off to 67.20, 4.4, 4.1. Like, this is what I figure they could do. And there's some odds that they could just digest this area here between like 6.4, 6.5 to 8.8, okay? Especially between 7.1 and 8.6. As much as I'd like them to come back into the zone tomorrow, it's not necessarily required. So if they can just digest, that's also fine. And then maybe we'll see if we can get some better structure breaks heading into next week. We do have CPI prints tomorrow. Usually before CPI prints, they're almost always trading in a zone or channel. So that being said, there are odds that they could get it back to the zone. But I feel like in this case scenario, those odds are kind of low. Okay, I'm going to end the stream, guys. I'll see you